What we're going to do now is teach you how to prove the existence of God.
Oof, okay, I mean, that's quite a bold claim from a video that has already made the unbelievably clever claim of
The banana and the hand are perfectly made one for the other.
we are dealing with a titan of intellect here. So proving God is probably a simple matter, and not just him making a series of absurd statements, making it ever clearer that the man doesn't actually know how to people, let alone how to do a thinking. And if you haven't already seen them, this is actually part of a series on one single video alone, because it's so long and so funny that I just keep coming back to it every time I remember it exists.
How to actually make an atheist backslide.
The only reason that people backslide from you is that they're slowly trying to get away from the crazy god man who keeps making threatening motions with bananas. You're a menace, Ray.
When I look at a building,
I imagine you have to steady yourself, because especially as you look up at a tall one, that big old brain of yours puts you way off balance, right? You could just fall down if not stabilised.
how can I know there was a builder?
Because buildings are built by people? And seriously, I do not believe that for a second. I bet with the types of buildings that you usually spend your time looking at, you're thinking, do I have enough cash for a rusty trombone? Or am I going to have to settle for a pokey bumwang? Probably don't look either of those up.
Can't see him, hear him, touch him, taste him, or smell him, so how can I know there was a builder?
Well, right then and there you can't do that, but likely, any modern building especially, you can find them and shake their hand, although you should wash yours first, you filthy bastard. But yeah, and even if they aren't around, there's records of them, and likely even photos you can find of them. And even if, for that one building, you just can't find any proof of the builder of that particular building, we know and can prove that other buildings were built by people, and thus can infer that this building was in fact built by a person and not, say, magicked into existence.
Well, the building is absolute proof there was a builder.
The building isn't proof of a builder, or at least a particular builder. I mean, for starts, it would almost certainly be builders, plural, who would have been needed to make pretty much any building of reasonable scale. And, well, I know where you're going with this. It's the watchmaker argument. And, well, it's been debunked more times than your mum has given it up for sailors. And that is a lot of times.
I couldn't want better proof there was a builder than to have the building as evidence. I don't need faith to believe in a builder. All I need is eyes that can see and a brain that works.
Ray, my man, your brain. I mean, I'll argue that it works, but not like any brain you might want to actually have.
Now, the same deep, rich scientific principle works with paintings and painters.
You're just going to restate the exact same idea slightly differently. My dude, that does not make it any more correct. I mean, it's basically an identical concept, and still equally wrong. I'm not going to explain how it's wrong, or at least one of the ways, until you actually get to your point though. Mostly because dramatic tension. And also because stretching out watch time. Although that at least gives me a chance to make more crap jokes, so yay.
When I look at a painting, how can I know there was a painter? Well, the painting is absolute proof there was a painter.
Well, here's a fun idea. Define painter. I would imagine you would define a painter as a person who paints paintings. Are you still following? I know this is complicated, but these highly complex ideas are the basics of what we're going to do for you to follow. So I'm sorry if you can't. We have got a wallpaper eating contest in the back if you want to stay busy. For the rest of us, let's consider this piece. Portrait of Edward Bellamy. It even sold at Christie's, the auction house, for over 400 grand. And the painter? An artificial intelligence. Now, okay, I've been a little bit fast and loose with painting, but this art piece was not made by a human, so is not proof of one necessarily. Even though, yeah, AI was designed, but you get my point.
I couldn't want better proof there was a painter than to have the painting as evidence. And the same principle works with God.
Nope.
When I look at creation, How can I know there was a creator?
You don't, because unlike the painting and the building, you don't know of any being of any description that has created those things you would consider creation. But we do have other things that cause those things to be. We've never seen something create a mountain, but we do know of processes that can do that. And while I know you don't buy the, fact of evolution, from the look of this still, I'm curious to know if you also don't believe in geology? Cause whoo boy, I can understand not understanding how evolution works to an extent because of how slow it usually is, but rivers erode stuff and earthquakes shift things within human lifetimes. You're telling me those processes couldn't cause this? Ah yeah, those are probably God urinating and scratching his arse on the planet, right?
Well, creation is absolute proof there was a creator.
No, it is not. What you got yourself there is a nice, tasty false equivalence. Buildings are built and paintings are painted by people most of the time. So, the only real inference you could take is that creation was, or at least could have been, created by people then. But of course that's patently ridiculous. But really, you're going bigger scale than that, or at least more general. These intricate things have creators, in quotes, therefore so does this intricate thing. But those things, paintings, buildings, etc., have creators that we have seen. The universe does not. We have never seen a universe created by a being. We have never watched as a planet was just popped into existence out of nowhere. Or, as the argument is stated, is that things are constructed, like the building or the painting. They are made out of other things. So we would have to see something pull things together to build a planet. I mean, you could argue that the natural processes that cause planets to be is God doing that. It's just he's invisible and intangible and all that jazz. And I would argue that a God you can't find is just as good as a God that doesn't reel.
I don't need faith to believe in a creator. All I need is eyes that can see and a brain that works.
Oh man, you flubbed the line again. Let me fix it in post for you, eh?
I don't need brain to believe in a creator. All I need is faith.
Look, it's not a great edit, but I think it's funny, and that's all that really matters.
Scripture, Romans 1 verse 20.
Oh, scripture. Goody gumdrops. I'm gonna go and get a drink and leave you lot to deal with that.
For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they're without excuse.
Right, I have no idea how long that was, but due to the nature of time and how it's relative and all that, you probably listened to that for what felt like 3 hours. So I've had time to have multiple tasty beverages, watch a film, and I've even written a book on all the convincing creationist arguments. It's one page and it's a drawing of God with real written underneath it and underlined a few times. I think it's pretty good.
It's obvious that a building can't build itself, it has to have a builder. A painting can't paint itself, it has to have a painter. And the same with a car.
Oh, God.
Here we have a well-made automobile.
That sounds like an opinion. That is not a Ferrari 360 Spider, the only car that is good. And I will eat anyone who disagrees with me, because that's how facts are established. Whoever can eat everyone that disagrees gets to be correct. That's why Henry VIII, the Catholic Church in England, and most of his wives. We all know the poem, divorced, devoured, 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 devoured.
Now check this out. It's got a nice body. I'm
not sure we should be watching this. If porno music starts playing, I'm ending the video right here. Ain't nobody want to watch Kirk Cameron a car.
It has a steering wheel. It even has a horn to let people know that you're coming through. Now,
that's not what horns are for. Horns are an unhappy button to share with the world that you are displeased with something. Like how that man on the street is wearing a jacket that you just don't like, signified with 3 rapid toots. Or how the traffic lights are taking too damned long, signified by holding the horn down until you have cleared at least 3 intersections. Also great for letting pedestrians know that just because they have the right of way doesn't mean they have the right of way.
Check this out. Someone thought to put a windshield on it to keep the bugs from hitting you. How glad are you for that?
It's called a windshield? I mean, sure, it does protect from bugs, but it's far more important to keep 70-mile-an-hour winds out of your eyes while you're going, well, 70 miles an hour in your car. Otherwise, we would still be wearing bloody goggles. Although, we would look pretty freaking sexy.
It's also got windshield wipers to smear the bugs across the windshield and squirters to wash them off.
Apparently, every feature of a car is specifically designed to kill insects. I mean, what? If you were anyone else, I would assume you were making a joke, but it's really hard to tell, and you seem to take your other completely absurd statements so seriously. So I can only assume that you are being just as earnest here.
Now think of it. Think of a well-made human being.
So not you then. A well-made human would need a brain.
We have a body.
Thanks, Dr. Dipshit. I'm ready for my advanced biology classes now.
Our mind and our will is like a steering wheel. We have windshields. We have windshield wipers. We even have squirters to lubricate the eyes.
Look, just because cars have faces and human beings just kind of happen to have similar features on the front of them doesn't mean the two are anything alike.
Think of it. Everything about us has been made with purpose in mind, from our nose.
Noses so perfectly designed that one nostril is always blocked, slowly driving me insane. Good work, God!
To our mouth, our teeth, our ears, perfectly shaped to capture sound waves, our hands, our feet, our muscular and skeletal systems. It's been made with purpose and design.
What about my nipples, Kirk? Do you know how many human body parts are useless or at least non-vital? I mean, look at you, getting along just fine without anything between your ears. You're kind of a marvel of science, Kirk.
Is it really intelligent to say that this car has no maker, that it just happened?
No, it would be about as intelligent as saying, oh, I don't know, that something you can't see, hear, smell, etc., 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 did just about anything when we have never had evidence of that happening. Oh yeah, that's your argument.
How much less intelligent is it to say that the human body has no maker and there is no designer?
It's literally the opposite, but you wouldn't understand that because you think evolution isn't true. So you would believe that it's a dumb thing to say because, well, you dumb.
Speaking of design, I believe in physical fitness, as you can tell from my physique.
Well, you know what? I'd you, Ray.
And for many years, I ran to and from work every day. Actually, my office is about 10 feet from my back door, but I did run that distance.
Ha! You know what? That's a pretty funny joke you got there, Ray. Almost as funny as your beliefs. Ha ha! See, that's a joke, Ray. You leave the comedy to the bad professionals.
And there was this huge avocado tree that continually dropped leaves. One day when I was running to work, I stopped for a break under the avocado tree, and I looked down and I saw there were 7 leaves on the ground. So I bent down and put them in a straight line. Went into my office and sat down and waited for my wife to come in and say what I thought she'd say. It was very predictable.
She's so predictable. I always know what she's gonna do. Every day it's always the same. Over and over again, an endless stream of identical days flowing into eternity. I do inane things like lining up leaves just to get some semblance of relief from the overwhelming monotony, only for her to do exactly what I think she's going to do. God, I'm so unhappy!
She walked in, sat down and said,
I want a divorce, kin! Do you find yourself wondering, how can me show humans I am the smart? Is am the way to thinking being a purchase? Well, to answer your incredibly poorly worded questions, yes, I think. Honestly, I have no idea what you want, but I'll be damned if I don't take this as an opportunity to sell you things. Like new improved Sick brand merch, now featuring the designer of almost all Sick brand merch. Right, the name's on the tip of my tongue. I want to say Cheryl Pringle? No, wait, it's Mrs. Sick. That's right. I always forget she exists. Also, handsome, famous, and good at the sex tease. Ampersand, not forgetting this pretty badass comic book style one that I would buy myself if I wasn't so poor. Sick brand merch, because we're tired of eating stray cats. Oh, there's one now. Get it!